Are we ready to get rolling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sam?
I'm good, yeah.
All right, then we can start things up.
Do I need to retweet anything? Are we good?
Yeah, can you retweet?
Yeah, where is the tweet? Oh, there it is.
Oh yeah, chat. And how are our lads and Sam's mic? They're good.
I'm on my AirPods. I was saying Lat stole my Yeti microphone. So he's pretending he's more prepared than me.
About to sell it for more margin.
Yeah.
Like $50.
Probably you can almost get like half a Bitcoin at these prices.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you
All
mind
right, cool.
maybe signing it first? I can sell it to chat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're down bad. You start selling autographed equipment.
Have you seen those?
Podcasting wasn't for me, guys.
Oh my God. There was a whole like movement, especially during the bull market, about like being like crypto rich, but like IRL poor. And people, like taking photos of their like bedrooms where they have like a sofa on the floor and like nothing else because they sold everything to buy more coin.
No shit. Is that
Oh,
And there was
no.
a whole thing. Yeah, yeah. It's like I owe nothing because it's all on FTX.
Oh, Jesus.
I feel like that's not something to be proud of.
It is when the number goes up.
Correct. Yeah, I guess.
And then when number goes down.
Yeah, then you just have a sofa on the floor.
Oh, so you're saying they didn't sell the sofa, though? That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know what a like incel used sofa goes for.
And like their apartments are probably mad expensive too. Like luxury
It's like
building, like
Manhattan. Yeah. It's Manhattan, downtown, but just a sofa.
That's like I know like um a lot of like finance guys that live here in like New York, and they're making like over $250,000 a year, but they're like flexing a 1 bedroom, and it's like, dude, come on, man, what are you doing?
Oh, God.
It's so frugal. All right,
Yeah.
I think we're ready though.
Get started.
Yeah.
All righty.
Yeah. So yesterday, I guess last week we threw up this oil trade.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have actually even been stopped out.
Just barely.
Just barely by the skin of our teeth. And
Are we trading oil now?
we reprinted. Yeah, we always chart oil and throw up like some trades we would take on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of broke out of this downtrend.
You might have to actually take the trades now, though.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I mean, to be honest, I should, because
Yeah.
we have been printing on so many of these like commodities trades. It's crazy. I feel like these are so much easier to trade than crypto currently.
Yeah.
TA works incredibly well, but yeah, so we're just gonna leave this trade up here. I think it's gonna still trend towards 103, because I think there's also a gap here, right, that we were targeting to close. Yeah, so basically there's a gap fill here. So I think at least oil comes up to 103. And in turn, that's usually means opposite for Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to cover on oil this week, because still kind of the same setup as last week, targeting 103.
What was the peak? Yeah, that peak.
129.
What was the date of that?
That was like May? No.
March 10th. And then there was another one, June 10th.
Okay.
I mean, it really doesn't even look topped, though, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember like the last time I filled up on gas. Let's see.
I need to do some arbitrage.
Gas is like
when
not too bad right now.
Yeah.
Like comparatively.
No, it's down. Yeah, it's down more than oil's down. Oh, I don't know.
I mean, my Subaru, I remember like towards whenever gas was like $6 a gallon, I literally spent like $90 at the pump in a sedan. And I was like blown away.
Yeah.
And now it's only like, like maybe $60, $65, significantly different. So yeah, I don't think this is topped. We probably, I mean, at a minimum, we're aiming for here, but I wouldn't even be surprised if it puts in new highs.
Pull up the natural gas chart because that's even
Do you know
more.
the ticker?
I have it as just natural gas.
Well,
Natty
it's in the
natty
name.
gas.
It's in the
There
game.
you go.
In the name. Oh,
So
is this all time highs? Or pushing
it
all?
might be for this chart because I don't know how far back it'll go.
Because
But
it's natural. It's more
Yeah.
culturally sensitive. It's more
yeah.
in vogue right now. All natural gas is oil is all it's all done, but it's the natural gas now.
Does that not look like it's about to leg up like
No.
30%?
Yeah. Yeah. I think this definitely is I feel like something like this is gonna repeat right here.
Can we like pour one out for all the Europeans listening right now because they're really feeling this?
Yeah, do you know what the situation is with the Russian pipeline stuff? Is Germany gonna keep buying? Did they say no? I kind of like stopped. I got like over saturated with depressing war news.
Yeah, the latest that I know is that prices are going way up, and the like leaders of countries are saying, well, people need to prepare to pay, upwards of $2,500 a month to keep their houses warm.
Yeah,
Yeah, Flo, Lat and I were talking about it. Like Trump was like telling Germany that they were going to be very reliant on other countries for their energy. They were going to run into a crisis, and like everyone laughed at him, and it was like a huge joke, right? Big mockery was made, and now like it's coming to fruition. Like that's got to be tough shit to eat.
yeah,
Do you know that that one YouTube channel that does like deep dives on like economic projects and things? Wendover Productions. Do you know that one, Sam?
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, he does a bunch of other stuff too, I think. But yeah,
There's a pretty interesting one about how like crucial Azerbaijan is, I think, to like the flow of oil and natural gas among like
mm.
the production company or countries as well as like the consumer countries in Europe. It's definitely worth checking out. That on
Is that
your
from
watch
a
list.
production standpoint or like a trade route control?
I believe it's a combination of the two because um, currently there's like not a pipeline. They need to have a pipeline because for now, like it's all like fuel tankers. I don't know. Watch the video
Mm,
because it's a good one.
Oh, and this is the commodities kind of bundle that we usually
Yeah,
cover. Has like wheat, corn, oil,
metals.
gas, yeah, metals, and our
getting
trade.
there. You're
Look
getting
at
to
this.
your first TP.
Look at
Yep.
this trade. We
We
Yeah.
would
need
be
to
printing across the board.
we need to switch to commodities.
I know, just become a commodities trader. But yeah, the
Sounds better.
same shit here. Like we're just not much to really chart, just still aiming for the same TPs.
But the question is, are you outperforming inflation or are you just breaking even on these trades?
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Well,
whoa! That sounds like some in-depth analytics.
yeah,
I
that's
don't
too
know if
much
I'm
math for me.
comfortable.
I just buy low and sell higher. But
Got it.
yeah, this same shit. I'm gonna probably follow oil, keep heading higher. Um, let's check out the VIX. I know this pumped.
Yep, it was a deviation after all, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately. Nice. So, one would say, what do we say? Like once we come out of the bottom and start showing strength, it usually heads to the highs.
Yep.
So if you deviated this little bit down here, you probably deviate that little bit up there. So
There is a gap though.
Can you just like plot a VIX of the VIX for me so I can like see the volatility of the VIX here? Because I think we need to do some TA on that too.
Can't you do that like in the typing section of TradingView? You like multiply
Yeah,
it.
I mean if there's a VIX indicator, you can put it on this. Yeah.
There you go.
I think it's just VIX all the way down, honestly.
Oh
That's
god.
probably what Jane Street does. Like if I had to guess, it's just all VIX.
can't you play VIX on like some crypto exchanges. Wasn't that a thing?
Maybe along with like other sort of pseudo traditional equity type stuff. Maybe I don't know because there was a few brokers that were trying to, and I mean, there's like FTX, whatever, like stock things, but there was also
Yeah.
some other guys doing stuff before that that were more like sketchy,
Cause you know
like
Abe
CFD
Trade,
style.
I swear he like he was showing like VIX trades, and it was definitely on some type of crypto type brokerage. I don't know what
I
it
know he
was.
has. Okay, I don't know, but I think he has a some accounts outside of crypto, but maybe I don't know actually.
He definitely trades Forex as well, as far as I can
Does
tell.
does FTX have a VIX? Because they have like
No, they don't.
other equity token
Yeah,
stuff.
there's like a handful of like you can do regular stocks, and then you can also do stock futures. So, like
Mhm.
they have maybe like 100 or so pairs.
Yeah, Trader Bane, you can trade VIX.
On Prime XBT, the exchange.
I guess so. Yeah.
I don't. I
Is
don't
that where
know.
he does
Maybe
it?
that's what it is that I
I
was
don't think
thinking
so.
of. No, you can't. I mean,
I
look at
maybe
that
they
in
added it
juice.
recently. I
Oh,
could
I
be
was
wrong.
thinking of the move. That's exactly what I was thinking of. My
Oh
bad.
yeah, I mean that. Yeah, yeah. Move contracts.
Move contracts. Okay. I mean, in a sense, it's kind of similar, right?
Yeah, the moves are basically options. They're like an
It's a
option
straddle, right?
spread. Yeah, I think it's a straddle. Essentially, you buy you have some strike price where you basically own puts and calls at that strike, such that if price goes up, you make money, or goes down, you make money. But you have to make enough money to cover the cost of your options at that price.
Hmm.
So essentially, yeah, that's it. All a move is buying a put and a call at the same price.
But yeah,
Okay.
it
Yeah.
looks like I think VIX might continue higher, which would mean, volatile weekend coming. But I think we kind of expect that, right?
Yeah.
Any surprise Powell appearances to be afraid of, or is he retired for a week? Is he going to sleep? Are we safe?
Yeah.
Somebody said he can. Somebody
He's
shipped
being
him his Xanax, right?
putting him in a
Express.
medically induced coma.
The market has spoken. All right, I'm going to be sedated.
He needs to be permanently sedated so we can
Oh
just
god.
so we can just cruise for just a little bit of time before they find a replacement.
The Fed is going to knock at your door tomorrow and be like, "So we
Yeah.
got a report. We were monitoring some activity online and some veiled threats against government officials."
My god.
There's no threats. Just saying, in a video game.
Just in a video game.
In a video game. So let's try. Dixie is out. Did it just crack the highs? It did.
Yeah.
Oh, Brennard speaks tomorrow.
That's a bull flag for sure.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, looks like 113's coming. Yeah, this looks so fucking strong. This is.
Yeah, it's just going straight through resistance. Like
I mean, it's just
yeah.
there's no resistance.
There is none.
Look at these green candles. There's not even a red here. Holy shit.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, so from this low, you would be up pretty significantly in FX terms, of course.
yeah. Flo, I'm sorry, your 8 cap FX broker. Do you know like the KYC? I'm curious because like I've never people mention integrating with Forex and like if we could trade this kind of stuff, it'd be cool. Like the VIX. I don't know.
I would also love to trade Dixie.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is compliance stuff and like what is required to make that
Yep.
happen.
But for Dixie, yeah, I mean, we're still aiming for 113, I think.
Yep.
Like, we've been saying it for months now.
You should seriously get like a paper trading account set up, like a free one, and start tracking these.
Tracking like the
Yeah,
commodities,
your
VIX, and
fake trades. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to because I know I would be up like significantly. I would be up a lot.
Got it. Okay. Fair enough.
I think think it's we actually.
Okay.
You can have
Get the
you can
point.
have some share in this zero profit.
Yeah, I
and
want
the
a
zero
share of the
profit.
paper trading profits.
In the paper trading clout.
There you go. Even
Yeah.
better.
But I mean, we've been literally talking about this since back here.
True.
113 since back there.
You think if you had like insider trading and you like you have insider information, right? And you don't want to actually like go to prison and insider trade, but you just like want to like clout. Like if you set up like a paper trading account on like one of those, you know, like somewhat reputable, like I don't know, just like IG brokers or whatever, have what I don't know. Anyways, you set it all up, right? And you just like mega trade your insider information, but it's all paper, and then you just take a screenshot of that. Like, is that legal? Can you do that?
I think
If
it
I'm
is
ever like
because
the
you're not
board of
making monetary gain. But then I guess, is it a slippery slope if you open like
somebody else might see that and be like, what?
yeah, or
Maybe it's
like
good.
what if you're doing like online courses? Like check out all these trades I've made.
I would 100x short Tesla right now.
So yeah, I think Dixie just keeps heading up, not really more, and it's pretty fucked for Bitcoin and ES.
Yeah.
Anything else I'm missing, Lat, before we move to ES?
Did you want to do gold or any metals?
Oh yeah,
or...
let's see where we're at. What is it? CL1 or something? No, it's what was the ticker they always use?
Oh, GC1?
GC1 is what it is.
Yeah. And we can look at some other indexes, like if you want to look at the A50 or...
GC. Isn't exclamation point? What is the one that we had all the TA on? Oh, here it is.
There it is, yeah. It's pretty good.
All right, yeah, here's the drawing from last week. Oh, it is rounding out. Let's see if it does this. So we'll just leave it.
Yeah.
There's not much else to see. But this is still one of the best non-trades that we've ever taken.
Yeah, that it literally Pico touched the block.
So yeah, gold, I think you either round out here, come in for like a bearish retest and continue lower, or we round out, retest the rounded bottom and push higher. But if we do push lower, we're breaking out of a multi-year range. It could be pretty ugly. So I don't know. I think it's like a non-trade. Just kind of figure out if a bottom forms here. And then if a bottom doesn't form and it kind of looks bearish, if you do trade this, I think you wait for the breakdown. And then you get short.
Can you add a symbol to this chart? Can you click the plus sign and then type in Femex gold?
Plus, like this?
Oh no, you don't actually have to do plus. You can just click the plus and then
He wants to see another symbol on the.
Yeah, you can add a symbol.
I think
you're saying here.
Yeah, add it.
Yeah.
There you go.
You can add Femex what is it, :gold, I think.
This?
There it is, yeah. And then same percentage or yeah, that should be fine. So I'm just curious how, like, if it is super accurate or not. Like if you want to trade gold, you can trade Pax G perps on like Bybit, and I think FTX has it.
I mean, it looks pretty 1-to-1.
That's good.
TradingView actually is really finicky with the overlay.
It's hard. So you can change it. See at the bottom where it says percent at the bottom right. If these two things are supposed to have the same value, then it auto does percent. Unclick percent. The reason it does percent by default is because it's assuming you might be comparing two things. If you were comparing two things with drastically different like notional prices or magnitudes, then they might be like in wildly different sides of the axis. So it defaults to percent.
Makes sense. But yeah, it looks like it trades pretty 1-to-1. I mean, there might be like some small differences, but I don't think it's gonna make or break the trade.
Yeah, I'd be more interested in fees, to be honest. Yeah, I mean that's accurate. That's accurate enough where the only question is fees.
Yeah,
it comes to like if you should actually trade that.
Fees on
maybe
Femex
counterparty risk.
like 0.07%. taker. I think
Yeah, they
point
they,
of
they
they
updated
just got
their
rid of
fee
it.
structure.
Yeah, they got rid of the maker rebate.
Yeah, it's really interesting how everyone's doing that now.
What are the gold contracts you can trade with Tealstreet?
Can you
PaxG
trade gold?
Yeah,
Can you trade
yeah, you
Definex
can.
gold?
on
Yeah,
Femex.
Femex has it. Pax G, I think, is on. Let's see. I'm gonna pull it up.
PaxG perps on Bybit is a shit show. Apparently.
Why is it not? It's not pulling up for me. Maybe I'm
Like
typing
that?
it in wrong.
Oh yeah. So what would it be like Bybit? Pax, here it is.
Okay, there it is. Yeah. Okay, so I guess Binance doesn't have one. That's interesting.
Yeah, they probably don't want to deal with even the remote risk, especially after their tokenized stock stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is pretty bad. Could you imagine? This is the daily too. What's this in the? Someone got slipped so hard.
There's probably like $1,000 order.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's interesting. Is it's like not even really like
5%?
that's not like an actual like stop run because it's like out of nowhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clearly that's like an actual fat finger.
That
It's
sucks.
like that's like a real fat finger. It's like one extra zero on your market sell button.
That he got slipped 5% on gold. That's significant. All right.
I guess it goes to show you that if you want to trade gold, the
It goes to
choice is
show you
obvious.
that yeah, it goes to show you that you should,
Not
unless you
use
know that
crypto
the
cash.
market's liquid, you should probably take limits on the other side of the book.
Yeah.
So if he submitted a sell limit slightly into the bid side, then it would have ended up just taking those top orders and then resting the rest, just in case. You never know.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Yeah. Let's go.
Looks pretty bad. I mean, right off the bat, it's the same pony show every time. You have like this, and then you sell off. This, sell off. Now it would be this and this. We're already starting the sell off. It's kind of
That's
this.
scary.
It's kind of the same setup every time. Um, we said that if we didn't crack this downtrend,
Mm-hmm.
that we would come back down and retest 4,000, and we're at 4,014.
Yep.
So at least expect some type of relief here, I think. Some type of like very weak pity bounce, just because I think it's so oversold. Maybe just chop around in range in this area. We do have this gap here too, though. I mean, it wouldn't take much to bounce and fill that.
Mm.
What is it? 30 points off. So intra week, I think maybe you might stab lower. We didn't take out these stops yet. These stops here. So maybe stab lower, take out those stops, drive a bit higher, squeeze some, like underside retest, then continue down.
Hey, Bandy. It's over.
So yeah, I think something like that, like this, and then continue down. And then I think because of this rejection so nasty, we probably test this triple tap that we formed at the lows. And I think that would probably be the tell of like if we're gonna cut deeper or if we're just gonna range around in this area.
Thoughts, Sam?
I mean, it looks bad. Like, I don't know. I think that like the only thing that could save us is people overestimating the severity of like 21st century recessions after 2008. Like, I mean, we don't have like a serious catalyst that's baked into the system like we did with the mortgage-backed securities. So it's a lot more of just panic, but like that doesn't mean it can't go very low. So I don't know. I mean, I think like from a fundamental standpoint is pretty bad, and then the chart just makes it worse. But you know, the bright side is that there was already the speech on Friday, so it's like in a way the Band-Aid was ripped off, um, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I think like chart perspective, yeah, we ultimately retest the top, and I think that's really going to be the tell, like if we're going to go a lot lower or not, because we can easily just range too. Like that is an absolute possibility that we don't need to like continue to trend in one direction. I think people like don't understand that either. Like we could literally just do this for like years. Like we could just go
Right.
sideways. And I think people don't like necessarily understand that. It's like, yeah, there'll be like there'll be drives up, a trend down, trend up, but like overall, like more macro perspective, we can just trend in like a very tight range of price for a really long time and not actually do anything. So I think like more likely than not, there's going to be some type of floor that's found, whether this is the floor or not. I think we'll probably know if this is the floor like in the coming months.
I agree. I also think that because people, I mean, generally there's more wealth, now than ever, and there are people cash rich, and like there is a point where you have to do something with your cash, and people will continue to buy blood, and that's kind of like different than like when people buy blood in a crypto dip where they like buy too early on leverage and then get liquidated, causing like a cascade. Like that's not how it works in the real world.
Yeah.
Like people, I mean that yeah, it can happen like that, but
I saw
um,
a really funny tweet that said, like in legacy markets, it's buy when there's blood in the streets, but in crypto, you should probably wait till the blood has streets.
yeah. Well, anyways, I guess yeah. No, I mean, basically, yeah. In this world, in the real world, people need to do something with their money, and they will probably keep trying to buy dips, and they won't necessarily be all risk, sort of like leverage risk. It will be a lot of non-leveraged or low leverage risk. So that is absorption, right? And crypto too is like, I don't know, there is a price where enough people are interested in the upside and where there's like the use cases are like worth the risk, even like the not exciting but obvious use cases, the ones like, gold, sort of digital gold, or like fleeing persecution from some government thing in like a foreign country, all that stuff, or like, you're an oligarch and you want to like squirrel away enough money just in case like Putin decides to like, take everything from you. Like there is a floor for like the known use cases, not the like potential use cases, but the like obvious use cases. And that floor is like who knows where, but I think it exists. So it's like, you know, in a way, it's kind of like you have to decide where you think that floor might be if you have cash and you want to buy spot of anything, right? So
Yeah, I think would you agree there's like a psychological price point for a lot of people that are like sitting on the sidelines with cash being like, okay, Bitcoin is still too expensive, ETH is still too expensive, but at, $800, ETH is so cheap, it doesn't matter how bad the macroeconomic conditions are. Like that just feels
maybe
cheap to me, feels like it's on sale. It might be worth buying now.
not normal people. Retail will never buy the bottom. So normal people either bought too early or will buy too late. Like that's just how it always, like that's the definition. So no, there's not like normal money, but there is probably smart money for whatever that is, and also people who aren't trying to necessarily buy a bottom as an investment, but people who have use cases, as I kind of like mentioned, like the very well defined use cases we know are real, but maybe just like aren't like the magic upside use cases we hope, the like super cycle use cases that send us straight to $1 million. But the ones that are more like, okay, cool, like I can protect my wealth when my native country decides that we're a dictatorship now and like I need to run away or something, right? Or like I need to like send remittances to my family. Like those use cases, like yeah, they're real. It's just like I don't know how much they're worth, right? So yeah, I don't know. And we could overshoot that floor because crypto and leverage, right? That's how that works. So the problem is like the floor could be 20K. That doesn't mean that we can't overshoot it to like 14K or 10K, right?
Absolutely.
And then bounce.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I think there's also the idea of like people with a lot of money can afford to set underwater
Right.
because they don't necessarily need that money. Whereas like your average like Joe that's just putting into his retirement fund, or like someone that's an early investor, um they can't really afford to lose that much money because they're already living like very tight. So I think there definitely is something about being able to buy at what price you think's attractive, and then you don't really care. Like you're just fine with setting it underwater because you don't necessarily need that money right now.
As an investment, 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think we're close enough to the like the real floor of where I think these like brain dead use cases have value. That like yeah, sure, that makes sense. I mean, maybe not like your life savings, but like oh well, maybe I don't, depends on what your risk tolerance is. But yeah, no, I mean, I think we're close enough there that it's kind of like it is what it is, and yeah, but you may end up sitting underwater for a while, and or you may snipe the bottom. Who knows?
So yeah, I mean, I think this one I'm going to be looking at for intra week. I think we're gonna, like I said, some type of bottom will form around here, drive up, likely drive lower. Um, I just can't see like these highs being cracked. Like going above like 43.20 just doesn't seem like very likely to me in the near future unless if there's some macro shift. So it like bullish case, I think we just range in here for a little bit. But it's kind of what I'm looking for intra week. And if it is just a down only, I mean, I'll be a bit caught offside, but down only would want to watch this lower triple tap, see what happens here. You would definitely want some type of bounce or some type of support found here.
Tealstreet spot trading will be the market bottom.
Oh God.
Pretty good. I can work with that.
All right,
You
so
know
we
what
need
to
to
do,
put
boys.
all of our attention onto spot trading.
Well, or
We
we just
will
need to make
create the
sure we
bottom.
just need to make sure that we go full 8 when we launch spot.
Volume is fucked.
For what? Spot trading volume or
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
As a
think volume.
as a business, yeah, I don't know if you're inferring like the business incentives of a terminal
Yeah,
supporting it. Even
yeah.
even even regardless, I mean the volume is always tiny because it's not levered. But then also you add in like it's just like it's you know
You're not scalping alts on zero leverage? What?
hey, I mean spot margin.
Yeah, yeah,
There's a
yeah. But
world
it's
there's
like
a
five
world
x.
where yeah, but I mean okay, come on. I mean I don't know. I think the reason you go above like 5x is because you are just keeping less margin on the exchange. So you're, sort of reducing counterparty risk as opposed to like actually trying to lever up your net worth. But I don't know. I think there's a world where like perps become very difficult to sort of get around regulatory constraints and liquid spot margin sort of like takes back over. I mean, that's like always been the traditional way to get leverage on sort of like these kind of things before, right?
Yeah, I
Well, I
mean,
guess I don't know. Futures
GCR put
is
out like a huge like thread if you follow him at all. Like he's not a huge fan of the whole like stable coin narrative, and that the
mm,
possibility of regulation so high that just staying in spot margin and staying hedged is like a much safer, quote unquote, safer way to like hold liquidity without being under.
Mm. From a product standpoint, perpetual futures are not like in the vocabulary of current regulators, which makes it very hard for any sort of regulatory framework to like fit. Whereas spot margin is totally like understood. That doesn't mean that it won't be like a KYC. I'm just saying, imagine like in the future, there's just no way to get around the regulations. Like exchanges are getting subpoenaed and whatever, and everybody's just like, okay, we can't do this anymore. Well, I don't see how, like, especially U.S. regulators, like, how is the CFTC going to like deal with perpetual futures? Like, I don't know, they're going to like explode. Their heads will blow off, right? So I don't think that's like a realistic thing. I think what's really possible there though is that exchanges realize that if they just do liquid sort of spot margin style trading with maybe 5 to 10x leverage, that kind of like isn't bad, as long as they can keep the fees and lending stuff kind of like liquid and reasonable. I don't know. I think that's one actual outcome that could happen, maybe like 5 years, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, well, that is yes, and the future of Bitcoin. So last week we said we were going to come down here, and we're there. We're there, guys. Once again, if we would have traded exactly what we we streamed and the setup that we showed, we would have made money. So you know what? I think we might actually, just for shits and giggles, we should definitely make a like stream trading account where we just paper trade like on stream, and then we come back the following week and see where it is.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I think that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I think I can figure out a good way to set that up.
Yeah, let's have that ready for next time, because that's gonna be nice. I'm just curious on what our performance would be taking only weekly review trades.
That'd be pretty cool.
So yeah, I mean, this is gonna follow the same shit that ES is going to. Not much more. Maybe, like I said, some relief. Maybe look for like a deviation there. See if it'll head up for an underside retest. All right, now the Bitcoin. Let me hop on to like a daily.
You invert it. Just reverse Uno. Nice.
Oh yeah, that looks great.
It's breaking out of our bull flag right now.
Like the COVID. Yeah, like the COVID bottom.
Sure.
Yeah, this is rough.
Yeah.
This little guy over here is just really holding on. But let me zoom in a bit more. Yeah, so we broke out of like the meme bear flag that we basically had the same setup up here, but I don't know if we're gonna get
legs on the daily. How many legs down is this? Like, if you were to chunk it into sort of, bear flag order block regions.
I think it's 3 drives down so far. Like, what are you saying? 1?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you count it, obviously.
1, 2.
And then this is kind of the third. It's probably the cleanest.
And then, like, what usually it's like, the third push is what you fade. It's like the meme.
I don't know if usually is the right metric here.
Yeah, but I don't know. So
I don't know. I mean, what else do you do, right? I guess you got to trade the system at the end of the day. You're more likely to regret not following your system.
Yeah.
So.
But do I think we're gonna have expansion like we had these previous times? I don't think we're gonna have the same expansion here, if I'm being honest.
You can see the 3 arrows liquidation wick.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying that we're not going to go lower. Absolutely not. I think there's a super high probability we test like 17s again and 16s. But to go down to like 10K, 12K, that's going to be so unbelievably bad
Yeah.
as a whole. Like, I just don't know if I'm not going to say we're not going to, because it's completely ignorant to say that, but
You gotta
I
hedge
think
your
there,
bets there.
as you know, we've just been talking about and Sam has pointed out, like, there are reasons that price will just stay a certain area, and we don't know what that is, but like, for me personally, it's just going to be really crazy for me to see Bitcoin under like 16K for any substantial amount of time. Might happen, probably will happen, but I don't know.
One
I
of the
think,
things it's like there's a fundamental difference in the price action since like I don't know, maybe it's like basically a year ago. I mean, since FTX really started picking up volume in the way that like liquidations happen, where we've still had like the rare sort of like liquidation cascade event. Obviously, like there was the May 19th one from 2021. There was that 52 to like 42K that happened maybe 6 months ago or so. Um, but in general, what we've also had in between those are just super slow grinds, like daily, multi-day grinds with literally nothing but just
bleeding off, right?
sell pressure. Yeah. And whether that's like the FTX liquidation system being different or all the exchanges being like, hey, maybe we should like rewrite our liquidation engine to like, I don't know, not instantly nuke everyone out every time it moves more than 3%. I think that's also possible. Also, like liquidity in general is just higher than it used to be like pre 2021, like in the old days. So that's obviously something too. But like it really changes the game because there was a time where you just like set stink bids at like 18K and like hope for a 2K hourly wick that would just like insta chad back up and then go straight to like 24K afterwards, like all in the same like 3 hour span. Like that was like a whole thing, right? And now it's like, I don't know, maybe we'll like grind down to 18K over like 24 hours.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
like totally possible.
and even for like everyone, like bullish PA where things were actually pumping, like altcoins were sending and whatnot. I mean, even this price action up here is so choppy and grindy. Like, there's not really a whole lot to do. I mean, you have like a broader range that's set. You know, you have one, two, you have three, like maybe four if you count here, like four plays, like range plays on like a daily perspective. Like, there's just not a, like you're saying, like not a whole lot of actual
Yeah.
trades to take that are like 5-10% moves. I mean, we're liquidity is
And
just
that,
at a
that looks like
point.
somebody just like trying to de-risk too every time it got close to a breakout.
Oh yeah, this is distribution.
He's just like, yeah, yes, that's what that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
Somebody
agree.
who read the room, you know, yeah, taking every 3% pot to help unload a little more.
And it's really not like this is still pretty easy. I'm not gonna say it's easy to play, but like this is still just TA 101. Like, it's just projecting from the same line. Like, if you were to just sell at resistance every time, like, you would have made money.
Yeah, I think one of the things that happens in hindsight is you forget like what was happening that day and like what bullish narrative was being force fed in the moment
Yeah.
or who was speaking at what news conference or what COVID was doing or who was invading what country. And so it's like it does change the way you feel. Like you're looking backwards with your current bias whereas like I don't know, the bias of the day may have been very different and that really makes it a lot harder.
Yeah, hindsight's definitely 2020. Um, but I don't know, like a good rule of thumb I always think of is like counter trend trading is obviously negative EV generally speaking, I think. And just taking like if we're in a downtrend, just usually you can short or sell at like the major major resistances and you'll probably make money as long as you're using like decent risk. So like narrative aside, just agnostically shorting, like just playing the trend usually makes you money. And shorting, like even if you like let's say you shorted here, like where is your invalidation? Like, and you know your RR is so much higher for shorts in this downtrend, and this is coming from me who like I've been trying to find longs to take down in this area. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say that my bias is not to get long, because I think that, like I said, I think this is some type of more macro range, and we're gonna chop around in this area. But like generally speaking, RR is so much higher for shorts in downtrend and just trading trend continuation that I think most people would just do themselves a favor if they just only took trend trades. So like if we're in a very much large downtrend, just like mainly focus on, you know, medium time frame shorts, and you would probably be a lot more profitable than getting chopped up in this type of price action. And it was like a really good tweet that I saw. And it was like, people think that, you know, let's say the same people start with like $1,000 here, and then you know that you have like person one and person two, and person one trades this entire range and they take like 100 trades, and then person two only takes one, two, three, four, takes 4 trades. Person two could like likely be more profitable. If not, there's a very good chance that they're more profitable, like based on numbers alone, than the person that takes a lot of trades. So like what I'm trying to say is the person that's trading a lot's probably going to lose money compared to the person that's not trading that much in a, you know, in bearish market conditions. So it's probably better idea to take fewer trades and just take very high conviction trades in this market conditions than to try and range play or, you know, scalp along the way. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think it depends on your style too. I mean, I think that if you're trying to catch swings, then yes, don't take longs, take shorts, find the trend line. I mean, one of the things about like looking at the chart here is that I mean, you can't really have shorted these pops on much more than like 3 to 5x of your margin to just stay in the trade long enough safely. Like, right? I mean, like, where do you start shorting, and where's your invalidation? So, you may be, I don't know, you may be looking at a 500, $700,000 stop because I don't know, it could wick up another $1,000, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
but
so
if you're going to take a swing, then that's totally like fine.
I think what
Um,
he's telling you, Miz, is that you need to increase the pixel size of your trend line from 1 to 5.
no,
no, no. So that he's like basically, you know, agreeing with me without necessarily, you know, agreeing with what I like directly what I'm saying. It's like using wider stops and taking less trades. You'll probably, you know, retain more capital for when trading conditions are easier than you would if you were to trade a lot. Because at the end of the day, like, you know, a lot of people, and I'm not even like trying to call people out bad. I mean, this is like because I care about a lot of people in chat, and I just like want people to be successful traders. I think it's a lot of people call themselves scalpers as like a cool like coined term, but like 95% of people aren't scalpers and just lose money doing it. Like taking
yeah,
intra-hour trades, you're probably like a lot of people are probably going to lose money doing that. And I think taking lesser, like fewer trades, like with wider stops, you'll probably be able to retain more capital for whenever you have an uptrend like this. Like, I think the problem is too, is people try and eke out like every single dollar of the move. So like
mm,
if you let just these bottoms, like if this is just range play, right? If you let like very clear, decisive tops and bottoms form, just get in on like the retests. You have clear invalidations and then take the trades. So I think people try and catch these tops and bottoms in like trends, and you really don't need to do that. Just taking them like with wider stops and letting the bottoms and tops form of the trend, it just makes your life a lot easier. And that
yeah. I
like
mean, you can also like sort of like have a short-term goal to just take some off and like lock in whatever, and then let the rest run too if you want to.
setting stops at break even.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about setting stops and break even. Like that's kind of like up to you. But in general, like if you're, if you're trying to like nail a swing short, but you need to also kind of like feel like you've won a trade too, like depending on, if you're on a losing streak or whatever. Locking in a win can be like it can feel really good while still leaving yourself like room to make a lot of money. Like I think people don't realize how much you can make on low leverage over large moves.
Yeah, like if you were, because what if you take like 1 or 2x up here, like you would be up quite significantly on your account, right? You don't even need to get the top either. Like I'm circling
Yeah.
tops, which is probably not fair to do. But I mean, this entire, like, you could assume that this area is probably a top. And yeah, it's like a 5 or 6% move. And on like 2 or 3x leverage, that's a significant chunk for an account.
It's a good R.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is like not being in tune with the market or being like paying attention when things do I don't know, whatever. Like it's hard to both achieve like a low trade rate while also being primed for the trade when it does finally come. I think that is like one of the things that's really hard. You either trade all the time and so you're like really in tune with the market, um, but then you chop yourself, or you don't trade all the time, but then when the market like does its thing,
Mm.
you're like probably like, I don't know, outside or whatever.
You were saying
So
like having like more than one account with like different sizes and just letting the one, like,
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I think any strategy that sort of like allows you to do that. I think that if you need sort of the like, I don't know, whatever, like the gambling side of things, and you just want like a small account to try and take high risk trades to keep you kind of like enjoying the grind while saving your actual hard-earned money for the trades that actually count. Um, that's like more of a band-aid than like a permanent solution. But honestly, like you should like band-aids are acceptable. Like, hack your psychology if you need to.
yeah. And I think the other huge thing is don't get liquidated on like this move. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is like such a, if you zoom out, like, this is, I think, what ends up happening. People make so much money, or they make like a lot of money, and like throughout like over a month range or like a week range. And then they like bet it all on like, this is a top or this is a bottom. And then one like 2% move of them trying to catch what is like a bottom or a top on like high leverage, they just get like wiped out all of like the week's profit. I mean, I know I'm super guilty of that. I'm like, oh, I can bet my earnings and like I'm only giving back like what I've earned, but like a lot of time and
Yeah,
effort goes into that. Like, and then I'm super bummed as like I worked all week to build like up this stack, and then I just gave back like a huge chunk of it. So that's something like I'm super guilty of, that I think there's no way I'm the only one, but I think that's like a
well,
terror.
you're way more likely to keep trading bad after that and blow up too.
Do you
Yeah,
ever? How do you feel about like daily loss limits?
I think from like a percentage, it's like a really good idea. I mean, I never follow it.
Yeah, the problem is enforcement.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So
So
I think it's objectively a good
Teal
idea.
Tealstreet programmatic daily loss limits.
Yeah, but then like what without user override?
Yeah, right.
How
Yeah,
do we enforce that?
override is the hard part.
you have to sign like so many agreements.
Yeah,
Give
it'd be
the
tricky.
password to your friend.
I know.
Yeah, but and the password to your actual account.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, I mean, what the problem with like what you're saying is like don't get liquidated here. I mean, like a 2% move to not get liquidated and to not be in risk of liquidation on a 2% move, you basically have to be like under 30x, 25x leverage, right? Which like, yeah, that's like a lot of leverage, like especially if you have like serious money. But like leverage creep, people get up there pretty quick. So it's
Yeah, it's
not that
easy to
like a
add to
lot of
losers too, right? Like,
well, that too, yeah, that's another problem. So, anyways, I guess like my point is like, yeah, it's like you look at a 2% move in the zoomed out chart, and it's like, how'd you get liquidated there? But like in the moment, I was only trading like 15, 20x, and I added a little bit, and now I'm liquidated.
yep.
I mean, it's like, yeah, it happens. It's really fast.
Yeah, so I think you made a super good point on just 5x, 10x alone over the course of a month. You can really like build up an account. So I think
or hold one position underwater until Bitcoin goes from 28K to 20K and then be liquidated.
I think
That also can be done.
I think Three Arrows started buying at 40K, and they didn't. Well, I say they didn't get levered, but they were already levered. And then I think the liquidation started happening to them around like what 28K.
no. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
this is like, I don't know how to say it really or quantify it, but like one of my major concerns is, yes, I think there's like a chance, probably a good chance that Bitcoin goes, all time highs again. But how do I want to say it? Like Three Arrows Capital provided so much of this liquidity, or they had to have, you know what I mean? And that's gone. And yeah, there's always going to be like another village idiot that just throws money at
Mhm.
all-time high prices. But how do you think that actually impacts the market now that we, at least temporarily don't have someone buying tops for us?
There's
Because
also like there's the contagion on the way down, right? But there is a sort of reverse of that on the way up, where like yeah, Three Arrows like had a lot of money, but like not like their money alone wasn't really why they pushed the market up. It was more that they spun the narrative so well, they got everyone else to buy too, right? Not just like their Twitter followers, but their companies they worked with, their investors, their banker friends, their companies they borrowed from. Like they convinced everyone to buy too. So and like would that happen again like as easily? It probably not. Like even if there was somebody with the same amount of capital as Three Arrows had pre bull run and the same desire to buy, I don't think it would do the same thing because like you know people aren't going to just I don't know follow that same idea as easily
yeah, so
theoretically.
that's my I guess my question is like, it's just how easy, or I guess how quickly do people forget? Because I think
Yeah.
that's really going to be the major question. It's like once Fed shifts stance, whenever that is, um, because I think a couple of things need to happen for us to drive into like the 50Ks at least. Um, how long until like big money is like forgets that these type of liquidation events happen to multi-billion-dollar firms? So
Hmm.
I don't know, but let me look up some setups like intra week. um I think there's mean reversion to some extent. uh, there's equal lows here, or like pretty close to equal lows, so this is definitely going to get ran at some point. But let me look at like lower time frame. I think right now we really are forming some type of temporary low. I just think we're down significantly, right? Like we can drive lower. We're down 10%. I would look for an underside retest of this order block at like 20,500. I think something like this. And I would look to see a reaction around here. We could definitely just go dive straight down, but that's assuming ES also goes lower. So like, I think you're kind of relying on ES, and in my opinion, ES is going to fill this gap, and you're also going to see some type of seller's exhaustion at some point. So yeah, mean revert maybe, and then likely drive lower. But there's a couple of meme lines here too that they hit. This trend line's been holding unbelievably well along the way down, but kind of want to see what happens if we crack out of this downtrend. Um, there's CME gaps, I believe, higher up too. Up to 20,400, we have a CME gap. And then
Somehow I
the,
missed seeing that. Yeah.
and then there's a huge CME gap up to 29K. I don't think that one gets filled for a while. There was just
Z-Love made a great point in chat. There's like this whole USDT thing going on of like, should people hold USDT? And I think USDT is fine. I mean, I don't know. USDC might be slightly less risk, but futures are probably more liquid on USDT. But if the fastest way to get to all-time highs with Bitcoin is a USDT collapse, 100%. That is the fastest way for Bitcoin to get to all-time high because everybody will need to put their money somewhere. And
ah
Bitcoin is obviously the safest thing to put your money in, even with the downside risk. Like you saw it in a micro setting when Bitfinex paused withdrawals. This is like in 2017 or something, 2018. Yeah, and Bitcoin, yeah, I mean Bitcoin just always moons when USDT has issues because people get scared and you know they'd rather deal with the downside risk of price volatility than the downside risk of institutions failing.
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I have a very large sum of my net worth in USDT. Like,
USDT is fine. It's more of like the fastest route to 70K is a USDT, internal failure, but it's not an issue in my opinion.
I would say possibly that like there are quite a few more, I guess, trustworthy stable coins nowadays than there used to be. A lot more. I mean, like BUSD, USDC. I think there's a couple others that people like.
yeah, I think people like the Binance one, right? That one's apparently.
Yeah, Binance has done a really, really good job with promoting their own chain, their exchange token, as well as the stable coin that's on their network.
And
And
I
go ahead.
also read um it was just an idea of whenever your money is with someone who is worth a lot of money and has like a public face, like of a company, like for example, like CZ, if the Binance coin failed, like CZ fails, right?
Yeah,
So in a sense, there's also like another layer of security if someone of that size is like attached to your stable coin, if
Yeah,
that
I agree
makes
with that.
sense. So, and it's the same thing with like exchange risks as well. Like nothing against Femex. I've used them in the past, but like no one knows who really own like the guy who, the heads or leads of Femex or whatever it is. It's like they're not large faces like SBF or CZ or you know what I mean? And this
yeah.
isn't to deter people from using Femex. It is just like the first example that popped up. There's 1,000 other exchanges like it. It's just you feel a little bit more secure with an exchange that has a CEO or a face of the exchange that is worth like a significant amount of money.
Right. They can do what Do Kwon wanted to do, and I honestly think would have done, but couldn't, and that is basically bail out their baby,
Correct.
personally or through networking. And I mean, I do genuinely think that like if Do Kwon could have, he would have tried to. I mean, I think he did try, but I don't know. But I mean, he's obviously was too poor and too much of an asshole and burned too many bridges. But SBF and CZ, etc. They would almost certainly prefer to save their businesses, even if it meant incredible influxes of personal cash, than let it sort of burn and die. I mean, I'm sure there's a point where the whole industry just implodes and there's not enough cash in the world to save things, but that would be like pretty Armageddon at that point.
Yeah,
So yeah, they'll do
exactly.
whatever
Like
they can.
so, basically, what you said, you just said it more eloquently, but that's basically my idea of keeping money on exchanges and or in USDT, USDC. Like, I just feel a lot more confident keeping not all of my money, but a lot of my money on exchanges in, stable coins or, hedged BTC because I think I've never dealt with like ledgers alone, like personal ledgers. but I know my friends use them. But there was like hacks before, right, with ledgers, or if you put it in your computer and your computer has malware, there's like 1,000 different things that you know it could possibly fuck you over with ledgers. I just don't know enough about them. I don't like own one,
I
but
think that if you use a good centralized custody type thing, like whether it's an exchange or an actual custody service, then that is for the normal person actually going to be better. I think like if you did the numbers, more people have. Okay, I actually don't know. Have more people lost money? I don't know if more people have lost money from fucking up their private keys on their own wallets, their cold storage, or from centralized hacks of exchanges. Not DeFi hacks, not any of that shit. That like you're obviously that's you're playing a different game there. But I would probably say for the average person, if you choose a good place to put your money, yeah, that's probably safer. But I mean, if you use a good cold storage, that is obviously going to be the safest if you invest in the time to understand how it works and back up everything. So kind of like I don't know. I think they're both fine.
yeah, I agree. But I mean, you got to cross what I was saying. You know that
Yeah, I would. I
for the
personally. I mean, I
average
don't.
person, like keeping money on like a tier one exchange is probably safer
Yes.
than keeping it on
I
your own
think probably
ledger.
more people fuck up or forget their keys or throw their hard disk away and then spend the next 2 decades trying to dig it out of a trash heap.
I know millions of dollars too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's
Should have
hop
just
back.
gotten hacked on Mt. Gox, right? Then he would be at least be getting a settlement.
I know fat
There you
settlement too,
go. The
right?
centralized hack outperforms the tech master private key man who threw away his hard disk.
So in this entire conversation about USDT, USDC, stablecoins, and exchanges, we've actually pumped, and my deviation is possibly confirming. So we might, like I said, I think we're gonna kind of mean revert here, form some type of low, drive up, and at least fill the CME gap to 20,000, like 500 or something, whatever it is. It's kind of what I'm looking for intraday. And then I think there's this larger downtrend here from the top of the range. And then based on my meme trend lines, if we were to crack this, we at least take out this high here and probably head to like 22,800-ish, which would make sense because I believe there's a lot of inefficiency up in here. And I think there's like fair value gaps. Lat, is that right? Is there like an FVG up here? I think there is.
Yeah, there's plenty if you believe in those kinds of things.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get some type of move up into like 22,800 if we end up cracking this downtrend from the top. So it's kind of what I'm looking. Intraday, move up to the trend line down here. Intra week, 22,800. If the more bearish scenario, which I still don't think is like necessarily too likely, would be just to take out these lows here. Like this one's pretty ripe, I think, for a taking. So right here. So you would look to kind of form some type of low here. Or you would hope to.
The previous monthly low of what is that, 18.8? So take that out. Nah.
So ideally, this is what you would see for like a bearish scenario, or like if we were to drive deeper throughout the week. Like taking out these, like obviously you're going to see 16K, right? I think it's the 16Ks if you were to take out the low lows. So these usually get taken
just
out.
stopped. S&P just stopped dumping. So I don't know. I mean, short term, overnight, who knows? We could just get a grind, like a slow grind up into the morning session. And then,
Yeah.
And you've been seeing this a lot too. It's the same like 3 different formations. Is you'll get like a W formation like that. You'll get one where it runs the lows, or you get one of these. Like it's the same bottoms that keep forming in these ranges every single time. So, it's like obviously a lot easier to see after they form, but like low time frame, you usually get one of those three formations if you're watching the price action on like a low time frame chart. So just kind of watch for something like that to form out, in my opinion. But yeah, I think we kind of grind up, like you were saying, into the downtrend. I think we'll see like a bigger reaction around here. We either pop up, take out 22.8, or we head lower. But overall, I think it's more of a macro range we're in here.
Is there like a
Yeah, I think
level you want to see reclaimed before you would, be like, okay, I feel confident in longing here, or are you just waiting for lows to get tested before longing?
No,
36K.
Yeah,
I'd love 36K.
I'm longing 69K actually.
I think if you reclaim this order block here, it's probably like an H4.
Yeah.
If you get
It's
back
hard
above,
because everything is like, yeah.
I think you can aim for range high, taking out range highs at least there, because then you're just back within this. And in my opinion, like just play this range, like level to level, range to range. Like for right now, in my opinion, like range one, range two, this would be a huge inefficiency that gets filled. So I think if you reclaim above this, you could even say like two micro ranges and then your like larger range is right here. If that makes sense. I think there's two ranges. Here's your mid and here's the larger range. And I would assume that like if you reclaim 22.8, you can probably put TPs 22.6 to 22.8 and likely get filled. And then on the hourly, that kind of aligns. I mean, I guess 21K is the 200 EMA, which I like using for just like a where is price going to mean revert to. And you've seen it like this entire grind down. It's like after a large expansive move, if you were to buy usually after like a large expansive move and some type of bottom is formed, and you just look to TP around the 200 EMA, you usually can make money.
Interesting how it basically tapped that right at like it's like a rising wedge, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, right there it
basically
is.
at the
It tapped and then
moment.
rejected. So yeah, I don't know. I would look for this deviation to confirm, then head back into this range. It's 22.8 or no 20,800, 22,800. So, Chad, do you have any questions about the Bitcoin?
Hmm.
Do you like
Did you?
corn? I actually do. Like Mexican street corn is so good.
Oh yeah,
Can we
S-
long like corn futures, like actual
yeah,
agricultural corn futures, just for the
yeah.
sentiment?
I think you can.
Might help.
Sam, you said
Morale might improve.
you're actually gonna start actively trading a bit more, right?
Well, I'd like to do some more streaming because I think that, you know, I mean, it depends on a lot of things, but that was like my goal was to get the stream kind of like re-engaged because I think that is where sort of people see me or see us kind of the most, and yeah,
So
we'll
are you
see.
trading this?
I currently am not in position. I got front run a little bit on that dip, so I did have some bids, but I don't
So
know. I
what
think
are
I'm
you
gonna.
looking to reclaim to get bullish midterm or short term?
So I personally would wait for the open tomorrow morning our time. So see what happens. I think that at that point I'd probably just scalp intraday, and then maybe by Tuesday morning open stock market open. I think if we I think that will probably be like the more determining factor. I think tomorrow is going to probably be hard to like be a deterministic read on what's actually going to happen the rest of the week. But I think that like if say Tuesday opens and continues down, then I would be quite bearish. Um, but I think that if Tuesday does like a little dip and then grind back up, or even a little intraday rally, then I think you probably could see some relief. So I don't know. I would wait. I wouldn't do anything tonight. I think at this point it's either going to stick below 20K, but kind of like not keep dipping, or it might grind back up above 20K. It might also like wick the lows and then just like chill around 19.5. I would be surprised if we keep dipping overnight unless the S&P decides to nuke again. So who knows?
Yeah, so kind of just slow grind, right?
But it's not a good. Yeah,
Chop
no,
around.
I'm not. Yeah, that doesn't mean I would long it. It's more of like, I
Chop
don't know.
around, slow grind, wait. Because we
Yeah, I think you'll get I just don't think you'll get volatility until the stock market opens.
yeah,
So
Lat and I also, I think he pulled up some data. It was like Monday range 38% of the time sets the low of the week.
Yeah.
So like usually just letting Monday range form
So
will.
that is an interesting stat. I can give you a little insight into that. One of the things that has historically made that so true is the overall uptrend of Bitcoin, just like over the last decade. And because the week starts, and if you count all uptrending times, all weekly uptrends, then you end up with the first day of the week being, you know, the bottom for the week
Oh, I see what you're
in
saying.
every uptrend. So the problem with that stat is you're actually not sampling evenly. You're essentially biased from your sample.
So it's just
Yeah.
biased to the down to like
Well,
the
I don't
trend in
think
the
it's
market.
entirely. I think it does have some interesting truth to it, but because Bitcoin went from zero to $20,000 over the last 10, 12 years, whatever, 13 years, you have to remember that, like, I don't know when that stat starts from, like, depends on when you do the numbers from. But if you are doing the numbers over a large enough time period, you're going to get a bunch of weeks where Bitcoin has to have gone up. Like, Bitcoin has gone up more weeks than it's gone down, right? Like,
Yep.
we know that's true. It has to be true. Well, actually, that's not true. It doesn't have to be true, but it is true. I'm sure it's true. Um, so let's assume it's true, because it would take a lot of weirdness for that not to be true. But let's assume that's true. Then that means that there are a lot of weeks where the low was started the first day of the week and just kept going up, right?
Yep.
So you've got a bunch of weeks. So you're going to, and also just because Bitcoin is trending all the time, right? So what that means is like you're going to have a lot of weeks where the bottom is the first day, and you're going to have a lot of weeks where the top is the first day, because any week that's just a straight trend in one direction, that's either going to be the bottom or the top is the first day. So that's where that stat gets funny. That being said, I still do think that like it has stuff to do with the market, sort of like being closed on the week, the regular stock market, and overall like other things going on. So like people are kind of waiting on volatility, and you can kind of get that fake out when traditional markets open again, as they kind of like overreact and then correct themselves, realizing that the world isn't about to end, and that maybe like it's okay to buy assets that week, but like in the very first 3 hours of Monday open, it might feel like the world is about to end.
Got it. Yeah, it's actually pretty
So,
interesting. Never thought it in that perspective.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
But I also know that like FX float, if he's still in here, would be probably be able to back me up. Is like Monday ranges usually have like great significance in FX, but like usually later on in the week, I don't know, like something that I know I chart is like Monday high and Monday low. Like if it's like a very trendy week and then we start getting shit on later in the week, like aiming for Monday lows is like usually like a decent target. Or if like Monday lows are like maybe, a 3% move away, like running those lows is like pretty likely. So it's like something that I like always look for myself, is like I always chart the Monday lows like intra week.
Yeah, I think that was part of the data set. It was not only like, this is the low, but I think what was it? Miz is like the low is like more likely to get run on a Tuesday if it's set on a Tuesday or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it
That
was
could just
actually some
be.
really in-depth stats, but
some of
Um,
that's I'm not gonna try and pick apart everything, but there is some like overfitting stuff there too,
for
where
sure,
like
for sure.
you end up essentially, if you throw enough darts at the dartboard, you're going to find patterns that essentially fit your data, but they only fit your data because you're just picking so many samples, so many
yeah.
points. That's like overfitting. Like AI has this problem where essentially you're using your past data so much that you start seeing things that don't actually mean anything, essentially. I'm not saying that's true, but yeah, like sometimes I look at like data that quote unquote quant type Twitter people put out there about how like, after you eat a baguette on a Tuesday, the market's more likely to like, do something. And it's like, yeah, you get to a point where, you know, like if you could easily determine sort of those type of things always, then like, yeah, it'd be pretty easy to run a bot, right?
Yeah.
I think that what's useful there is combining that with sort of other bias is where it can work, but it definitely like, and this is true of just TA and anything, but yeah, you basically you always have to like have confluence. So like if one of your signals is just noise, as long as you're relying on 2, 3, 4, 5 signals, the chances that they're all noise is pretty low, right?
Yep.
So whenever you're like deciding to take a trade, if you're relying on a single signal, like some Tuesday, runs the low twice type magic, well, that signal might end up being noise. I mean, or it might be actually a real thing that's happening, and maybe the quants have already figured it out, and you're just like realizing now too. That's like very also possible. So I guess the idea I'm trying to get across is confluence between multiple inputs means that you're much more likely to have an actual like valid signal versus just all noise. Yeah, that's all. There was like a rule, sort of like one of those like, golden rules for trading. And one of them, obviously one is like, daily loss limits and all that stuff and risk management. But another one is like three confluence of like three different independent signals is like a really good sort of like this is not a shitty trade type indicator, right? And they, and then the hard part is the independent part, but honestly, like even if they aren't perfectly independent, that can still be okay. So like bouncing off of some trend line plus matches up with like the day of the week that most likely forms a bottom plus, whatever, like
that makes sense.
yeah.
But one of our favorite indicators here is the weekly stock RSI.
Oh yeah, this is the only I only use the stock RSI to trade. I don't even actually have a candlestick chart.
To be honest, it like last week we said that we were topping, like that we said that it could expand like a little bit more to 28, but like we're basically topped and like we've dumped basically just off the stock RSI. This indicator, I'm serious, like high time frame is actually just cheat codes. The hit rate is like, we did the math, it was like 26 out of 28 times. We look at it every week, and if you look historically, if there's any type of rounding in like the oversold or the overbought region, it's a top or a bottom. And yeah, you might miss like 5 or 10% of a move, but what does it matter if you're gaining like 50 or 60% of a move? So curious on like what happens here. If you get more downside expansion, because top.
So like in this example, if you were like kind of trying to like actually like take action on this information, you have to kind of decide, okay, do you wait for, are we kind of like using rounding? Is that like kind of like the RSI trigger?
Yeah, I mean, how do I personally use it? I use it as like an overall, like where are we at?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah. So like, once we were down here, like I was pretty bullish down here. And then last week I was like, all right, there's a cause for concern. I don't know if we should be like highly levering. I mean, I told everyone like, don't high lever. Like we gained a chunk of the move. We're likely going to see like liquidity fizzling out, probably going to top somewhere, below 28K. And then we're going to drive down. And like, that's kind of how I personally use it. It's like, all right, did I catch a chunk of the move or not? Because if we're kind of like coming up out of the lows and we see bullishness, and then, this is also rounding out of the bottom, it's like, okay, well, there's like a decent chance that we're risk on for an uptrend. And it's the, it's the inverse for the downtrend. It's like, okay, if we're starting to round out of the top, probably risk off for, longs, more risk on for shorts, look for more downside moves. And like, that's how I see it. And you're asking like
Yeah, I think I think
what do
RSI
I
makes a
look
bad
for?
trigger. No, I think you're right. I think RSI makes a bad trigger, but it can make a probably a good gauge of how far a move might go. I think
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
that's exactly what I'm. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put
Yeah.
it. That I think like the extent of this move was done last week, and we even said it because this was
Yeah.
basically near rounding out at the top, and that's kind of how I use that. Is like I use this because I'm very much a directional bias trader. Like that's my edge. Is like generally speaking, if it's in a trend, I know how to press the trend hard and like make money on like being able to press the trend to like the
Mm,
fullest extent. So like being able to be engaged with where we're at on how far a move has gone is like super important to me because I'm all about like catching, the middle like 60, if the distribution curve, I want to catch the middle of the trade,
mhm.
like the largest chunk. So, I don't really give a fuck about these wicks and I don't care about these. I just want like the inner portion. And like this is what that tells me. And like I know ours has like a huge like meme, but like that's like I've had like great success in looking at just this alone and being able to gauge like, okay, how risk on or risk off am I to like what side of the trend.
Sure, yeah. No, that makes sense.
So from this, it looks like there's a lot more downside to come from an expansion perspective because you would already want this to be like significantly lower.
Yeah, I don't like obviously I don't know the math of RSI offhand
Yeah.
exactly, but yeah, I'm curious how quickly it will fill out the body of the sort of like middle region of the RSI indicator. Like if we keep dipping, how quickly is it going to get to oversold? And I think it might go pretty quick given like we haven't had much volatility recently, if I'm understanding how it works. So we could, yeah, I mean, who knows? We might end up on the other side of the sort of body of the region back to oversold pretty fast if it dips.
And I've never used it before until this range. I've been like playing around a lot with like not the stock
Stock
RSI,
trading
like
view indicators.
yeah, like no actual like RSI, like bull divs and bear divs
Yeah.
and like low time frame, like range trading. At least in this, again, this is very limited. I've only tried it over the past like, maybe this area here. So what, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks.
Hmm.
But I can like tell that catching bottoms or tops on low time frame bull divs or bearish divs has like at least helped me personally. I don't know, like
Well,
I can't
yeah,
speak for
that
everyone.
makes a lot of sense. I mean, so from like a first principles, you're like, what is a divergence, right? There basically like if price is going up and something like RSI or any strength indicator, basically any indicator of overall strength is starting to show like a down relative to its previous high, you're essentially kind of sort of it's like a leading indicator for price being weak. And if price is going up but it's weak, that's like the perfect short because essentially you're getting a great deal. You're getting a great entry on what looks to be weak price, upward price movement.
Yeah,
So,
so
I mean,
it's
yeah, that's why divs work. I mean, they make a lot of sense. It's almost like the derivative of price, right? Like, what's the curve? It's rounding off. So, like, it's kind of like the
Mhm.
derivative is going down, um, whereas the actual asset itself is still going up, but you're using a leading indicator to see that it's curving off. Sort of, it's like
yes.
quantifying that.
So, I mean, just the ranges alone been good. I'm kind of curious on, how it works outside of this range. I'm going to keep trying it, but I don't know. But it's been at least interesting for me. I mean, my trading has always just been, support resistance and then like price action, but throwing in like something a little more, you know, a little different into the mix has been at least been helpful to me.
Mm.
So along with that, just real quick, what I was actually looking at is, to be honest, what would be really good is like now I just see bull divs or bear divs like everywhere. I just see divergences. Like ideally, you would want to run this on like a weekly, right? And then you could form like some type of bull divergence, and then have like come up above. But I don't know. Just the thought is like you would want to run these lows and have the RSI higher, but I don't know. It's all just speculation, so it's just something to look out for. I'm now an RSI trader, guys. But yeah, I think it's pretty conclusive on Bitcoin.
I think that divergences have pretty popular support amongst many traders. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like usually a smarter way of. I think for triggers, especially, like I think divergences are valid as triggers, whereas like just natively looking at sort of things like RSI can be very hard to see triggers. Yeah.
All right, so I think I'm pretty conclusive on Bitcoin. I'll just do fucking ETH real quick.
When's the merge?
Yeah, when is it though?
I'm actually serious.
Yeah, this upcoming week maybe, or next
I
week?
was first a meme, and now I'm actually serious.
I
Yeah,
think it's like the second week of September.
chat will know.
I'll let chat correct me.
I think it's
Hey,
in
Siri,
2 weeks.
when is the Ethereum merge? No, Siri died.
Rip.
Siri's like, what the fuck is this? It's crypto bro. I'm retiring. Siri's quit on me.
The 16th. Yeah, I think probably the 16th.
Yeah,
it sounds about right. Friday, 15th or 16th. Okay. But yeah, I mean, this was. Do we think? I mean, I think it was pretty apparent that this was kind of leading the entire market, right? Like if ETH had a large drive on the way up, the previous uptrend, like Bitcoin would lag for like 30 seconds and then follow it right along. I mean, I think it was pretty obvious that ETH was kind of driving the market.
yeah. I mean, even the perp volume trading on like FTX, for example, I think at one point it was like 30% more being traded on the ETH perp than the Bitcoin perp.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely nuts.
Yeah, so I think this looks fucking terrible. This looks worse than Bitcoin because it's come down so hard. Again, it's gonna follow the Bitcoin. So we ran like, there's a little stop here that was ran. Probably want to see these hold for some type of relief. Get back above this trend line. Probably come on this. It's the same downtrend line that Bitcoin has, and then you can choose if it's gonna go higher, which is probably gonna break back down and go lower. So that's kind of what I'd be looking for, is some type of mean reversion into the downtrend. But like attractive prices are like back into this lower area. I mean, this was clearly some type of accumulation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we would want to see what happens at like 1200.
From a super macro crypto perspective, something scary is we still haven't had like the regulatory stuff that like I still think is coming, and I do think that's like probably actually good long term. And I'm not just saying that. Like I actually think that'll probably. I mean, depending on how it's done. I actually depends on how it's done. I think especially if the major crypto guys get the CFTC to handle it over the SEC, which is sort of like what all the lobbying efforts are now focused on. It's no longer
Will it be?
We don't want regulation.
Yeah.
It's like, can we have the CFTC do it, please? That's the current ask of the lobbyists, the crypto funded lobbyists. But short term, it's going to obviously make waves in a very bad way. And so like we have this like impending catalyst for a huge leg down. It's just like, is it going to happen like next month or next year or like in 3 years?
Yep.
I don't know. Or it's a buy the bottom, bad news pumps everything type thing, which sometimes happens. So might go up, might go down, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I always try and like speculate on like what do I think the time frame is until there's like actually large implementation of regulation across the board. And it's like I always say like 18 months, 2 years. But I do think like 2024, 2025, like from where we are and where we've come is probably a decent area to where you'll see like regulations in place.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it depends on like what everyone has a different standard when they say like regulations. Things that are like ridiculous are like sort of the EU style KYC wallet addresses, which is totally ridiculous. It's like never going to work. But
I'm
I don't know.
talking like all like any like non KYC exchanges like completely blacklisted, like all of that.
Well, I think they'll always exist. It'll be more and more like there won't be any tier ones is the problem. So
Yeah.
you're kind of gonna have to choose either A, find a way to get KYC'd on a tier one, or use the hottest new like basically they're gonna be like, the online casinos that we have today, or like some of the
Yeah.
shitty poker websites. So it's like they'll work, they'll be out there, but they may be just sort of like whack-a-mole. And so
Yeah.
you have to make sure you're, using just the minimum amount of deposit you can with the most amount of leverage you can to minimize your counterparty risk, et cetera. I think that's the most likely future of non-KYC
So just hopping
exchanges.
exchange to exchange, finding what's
Well,
most liquid.
hopping until you realize you might as well just set up an offshore LLC or something
Yeah.
and like stop hopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I don't want to think about when that happens, but what?
Yeah.
I'm fully legal.
Oh yeah, we're all KYC'd here.
Yeah, full KYC. Full KYC.
Mhm.
So yeah, kind of the
Hey,
same.
you can there are services that I'm sure would help you become a Mexican citizen, Z-Love. For the right price, you can be Mexican.
Can you let's just say you move to Mexico and you find a nice lady or man, I don't know, Zilov,
Señorita.
a señorita. Do you
I
just
think
get
he's engaged.
citizenship?
Yeah, I think it's too late for him. He's already,
Oh.
made his choice. So, yeah.
It's never too late.
You just need permanent residency, right? I mean, I don't know, whatever you need for
Yeah.
that.
You have to live
any-
live 2 years. I think that's what it is.
What, in Mexico?
Well, I'm
or?
sorry,
No,
not,
just
not
permanent residency.
you need a primary residence
Yep.
to be wherever it is you wish to KYC is the general. I mean, I think it depends on the exchange, but in general, that's it.
Yeah. Generally,
about
what
your
you want to
citizenship.
have is some sort of like proof,
Yeah, they ask for
like an
things like
ID
a
card that
utility.
shows that you
Yeah.
live there, and then even better if you can get a local bank account. That would be the best.
So just go on Fiverr and find somebody who lives in Mexico.
There you go.
All right. I think this wraps up ETH. And then like before we wrap up, major events this week. September 13th, we have CPI print.
That'll be fun. Right around the merge.
Yeah, I'm sure only good will come of that. And then September 21st, we have the Fed interest rates. So Sam provided this beautiful website where CME does the predictions, and I think last
Where's the CME dark mode?
Yeah, I know. This is terrible. My eyes are bleeding. Do they not actually? They actually don't, I don't think.
I'm sure they don't.
It's
They're
the
not.
CME.
Yeah, I don't think people are using this for, the kind of things we expect.
Seriously. Dax says flashbang. He's not wrong.
Yeah, so right now we're at what, 2.5%, and they're saying what, 64% chance that it's 3% to 3.25.
Oof.
I wonder what the hit
3.0.
rates are. I wonder what the hit rates are with these in the past.
Probably pretty good.
Well, I mean, they're sort of percentages usually, so depends on. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, what's the hit rate of if it's over, say, like 65%? What's the chance? What's the hit rate of that? What's the hit rate of over 80%? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it's be interested. Probabilities. This stuff's 70% now. It went up.
What is that for?
It went up while we've been talking here.
I don't know. Has it?
It
Might just
has.
be different.
How
Wait.
often does this update?
Go back to the other one.
No, it updated.
Oh my god! It literally. Dude, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I did not believe it. I'm like, okay, they probably just have like two different internal data sources.
It updated after CME
So,
open 100%.
Clearly,
That
their
is
bookie is
hysterical.
listening to our stream, and he realized, we convinced him how bad things looked, and he's like, "All right, guys, let me slide the numbers up a little bit."
Yeah, if it does print this is pretty rough, I think, right? That's a pretty decent rate hike.
Yeah. Although it's like, is it priced in?
Hey, if I ever hear priced in, I'm gonna like jump out the window. I feel like
Can somebody type in priced in the command, or I'll do it.
I fucking hate that because the whole priced in thing, no one prices in like the secondary or tertiary effects of anything, right? I think it's almost impossible to price some of this stuff in.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely kind of a meme at this point.
I think that in general, worrying about if something is priced in is a very bad way to trade, even if like kind of makes sense, and just trading the event or the chart as you would expect is almost always the winning strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like kind of aligns with my thoughts is like a lot of times, like let's say that the trend is down here, okay, and but there's like some random bullish news, it's gonna pump and then it's just gonna like come back down and re-enter trend. So like generally speaking, I think the whole like whipsaw of like the news events and playing the volatility, it's like usually just resumes trade unless if there's like a huge stance change. But that's it's mostly what I got. Does chat have any other questions tonight?
Yeah, are we at 2 hours now?
Hour 45.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, this is actually longer than we've done, I think.
Yeah, I think we talked so much and just didn't look at charts.
Yeah.
Well, the price action is just really exciting. So
yeah,
really engaging.
Yeah, very engaging.
People focused. I think we should probably just set aside another 7 hours. I think it's probably what it'll take. Let's go minute by minute for the last like 3 weeks.
Oh God.
Analyze every moment.
Right,
Yeah,
well,
draw every bear flag, every bull flag.
looks like someone got trapped up here.
Oh boy.
They got saved though. Don't worry.
They got shaved. They got shaved. Round it out. And then they VWAP'd. They TWAP'd.
Oh my God.
Activate the 3-second TWAP. Turn it off.
Hysterical.
See, no, if I had like a personal assistant though who did like execute trades for me, that's what I would yell. I would be like, in my hot tub.
TWAP.
Julius!
Wait.
3-minute TWAP!
Is that
Okay,
not
Julius, turn it off.
Is that not the reality? Yeah, what is that not reality?
All right, I'm not rich. I'm not that rich.
Okay.
But soon. My Julius is on the way.
Okay.
Can you get 2?
Yeah, I'll see.
All right.
Can I be Julius? All right. Well,
good stuff, guys.
I think
I'm
that's
good.
all.
Yeah, you guys good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Chat, you guys good? Not that we, are going to answer any questions.
Not that we
now,
care.
but yeah.
My not financial advice is if you really wanted to take a trade, buy around the lows of this little thingy we just did, whatever, 19.6, 19.5, and maybe buy some more 19.3 and stop low 19s, and then wait. The alternative, probably better alternative, is wait for tomorrow and see what happens at the open. I think probably we'll get some volatility where you can either scalp it or see what's happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's my NFA. Cool. Good stuff, guys.
All right.
Good deal.
Thanks for joining chat. Thanks
Yeah,
for coming on,
thanks to
spending
Sam.
our valuable time with us, Sam.
Oh yes. You are so welcome.
Every minute spent on this podcast or
Yeah,
stream,
my people will send the bill to your
invoice,
people.
sending us an invoice.
All right. I'll talk to you guys
I
later.
accept Luna. So you should be
Yeah.
fine.
UST.
I'll take 1 trillion Luna.
Yeah, we should be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know actually.
I don't know
what that's worth. I don't know if that's like over $100 or not. That's either a lot or it's not.
You're saying you think I have $100?
True. Fair
you're
point.
you're assuming big.
So you missed out last week. I think it was last week. Is we were looking at that commodities index, which is done by Goldman Sachs, and so I was doing a shout out during the episode, saying, hey, Goldman Sachs, if you're listening,
Sponsor us.
this stream could use a sponsor, and I'm happy to report that Goldman Sachs has not contacted me about sponsoring this stream.
Bastards.
If there's any like negative PR around Goldman Sachs in the near future, we'll be glad they didn't sponsor us. So maybe that is something to be glad of.
Yeah, we just
Who
didn't
knows?
want the exposure to the
They
bad press
keep
that they're gonna
firing
have.
their like top traders or something, or is that somebody? I don't know. I keep seeing like headlines like, trading top trader at this bank, whatever of some, I don't know, gold or some other metal has been under investigation. So
Well, David Solomon, the CEO of Goldman Sachs, is too busy being a worldwide
partying.
DJ. Yeah, he's out in the
That was
clubs
actually, that's
DJing.
like the
Wait,
only
what happened?
thing I know about him. All I know about Goldman is that during COVID, the CEO was one of the guys who got caught in sort of the Partygate, the U.S. version of whatever UK Partygate is. That essentially like you're not supposed to be partying because it's COVID, but then the CEOs are actually out there partying. There's like some photo of him like in the height of COVID at some pool party DJing.
Oh shit!
Goldman Sachs.
Oh, yeah,
He was on the turntables.
Yes.
Dude, he's got like
He's a-
800,000 followers on Spotify.
No shit.
Actually, yeah, no. So Cesar, that alone is great. Like, I don't want to like play down how great it is that the CEO of Goldman Sachs is actually a DJ. But then you also add in like Partygate, and it's yeah. Anyways,
It's fucking awesome.
Look at him.
yeah, that dude banks hard, man. He banks like you don't even know what banking is.
He's even got the sweat
His
rag.
pin, when he goes into like the ATM, his pin it's all turntables. He like has his own ATM just for him, and it's just a wicka wicka. That's how they know it's him. It's a special code.
I mean, props to this guy being the CEO of one of the largest like investment banks in the world,
And
he
Having time to DJ.
decides that to take his career to the next level, instead of like just being the worst human being on the earth, he decides just fuck it, I'm gonna be a techno DJ.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's not like a lot you can do there. Like Bill Gates gets a lot of heat for like not helping the world in the way that like certain people with agendas want him to. So it's like, oh, right, like you're focusing too much on malaria. You're like not doing enough of this. But like, what are you gonna do? Like, he's just a tech DJ. Like, no,
Yeah, you can't hate
do
on it.
It's
much.
actually a total accident that he's CEO of Goldman, and in reality, he was just a techno DJ that got brought on.
They like mistook him early on in the hiring process for someone else, and then he just like didn't say anything, and eventually climbed the ranks, and like that's it.
He just
like,
DJ his way. Hold up.
He doesn't know why he's there.
He DJ'd his way to the top.
Oh my god. That's how they
Comes up
pick
at
all their
board meetings.
CEOs from now on.
Yeah. His assistants carry in his equipment into board meetings, and he sits at the front of the table.
Oh my god.
Yeah, everyone like rolls their eyes like,
Quarterly earnings.
fuck. Him again.
He sets the tone. The intro beat is a primer for whether Goldman did well that quarter.
Holy shit.
Oh no. Yeah. Well, it's been a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah.
Cool. Good stuff.
Yep.
right.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We're gonna get this on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah. Anybody who wants to listen to it again, I'm gonna get it on YouTube, and anybody that missed it will also be able to listen in.
Cool. Peace. Bye, guys.
Cool.
Thanks.
Bye.
Later.